Hi YouTube, welcome to another edition of Horror Hands, and for this video I'm going to go through all the Blu-rays and DVDs that I picked up in the month of January. Might end up being a two-parter. I've got quite a few to go through, but got some good movies to show you this month. Let's get straight into it. So first up we have After Party, which was a pretty fun slasher film. This is a bunch of like social media influencers and wannabe musicians and things like that, and they get invited to this after party in like the Beverly Hills somewhere, and they get there and there's like not many people there, just them, and there's a killer going round killing them off. And I enjoyed it. There's a whole bunch of unlikable characters in this one, but I like the kills. I like the killer in this one. It reminded me a bit of the killer from Happy Death Day, and great twist at the end. I did not see the reveal of the killer coming in this one. Worth watching to find out who's doing the killings in this one, I must say. So yeah, After Party was a fun little slasher film. You just got to look past a few of the annoying characters. Next up from Scream Factory, I picked up Alienator, which is a really fun Fred Olen Ray one from the 80s. This one starts out on a space station and they've got this like rebel criminal that's in prison, but he escapes and goes to Earth. So they send the Alienator after him, who's basically a muscle-bound female cyborg thing that proceeds to stalk and chase him around the woods. And he's helped out by a few like high schoolers and people that are in the area. But seeing this kind of alien creature running around the woods gave me like Night Beast vibes, which is definitely not a bad thing. So yeah, if you want a fun, cheesy 80s alien movie, definitely check out Alienator. I really enjoyed this one. Next up I picked up Alone, which was a really good kind of like road movie horror mixed with survival horror. This one sees a woman travelling across the country and she comes across this real weird creepy guy on the road, and they have a bit of a cat and mouse thing going on, and he's just really freaky. He really gets under your skin. And then she has an accident and has to kind of leave the car and go into the woods, but he's chasing her and stalking her. So yeah, it becomes like a real kind of backwoods survival film. I really like this one. It's a really good tense kind of thriller. Starts out a bit like Jewel, and then as I say moves into the woods, and it's a bit of like a cat and mouse thing going on there. But yeah, this was a really well put together film. Great ending. And yeah, you're really tense throughout this one. The interactions that she has with this guy on the road is just like, man, just get out of there. So yeah, really effective little movie, Alone. I can definitely recommend this one. Next up from Vinegar Syndrome, I picked up the Amazon Jail 1 and 2 double feature. This was okay. Women in prison, not my favourite subgenre. This one's all set in the Amazon jungle, and they're all out trafficking these women. Lots of just kind of pointless scenes and dialogue and things like that. Like I say, I didn't really go for it because it's not my kind of movie, but if you like women in prison films, or if you like really cheesy exploitation films, I can imagine you get some enjoyment from this one. Not watched the second one yet. The first one, like I say, it was alright, but really nice addition from Vinegar Syndrome. I love the artwork on this, so nice to see it get a fancy release, but yeah, not one that I've returned to all that much myself. Next up, I picked up Antrum, the deadliest movie ever made, supposedly. I did do a review of this one on my channel. Especially this cursed movie that, like, anyone that watches it dies mysteriously. I just found it really boring, to be honest. But if you want to see my full thoughts on this one, there is a review. But yeah, not one that I would recommend. I was disappointed by this one. Next up from Shudder, I picked up Anything for Jackson, and wow, this movie was excellent. I thoroughly enjoyed this one. Thought it was really well done in every way. This one sees this kind of old couple, and their grandchild has died, and they are going down a bit of a dark path to try and resurrect their deceased grandchild. So they're dabbling in like dark arts and occult things. And they kidnap this pregnant woman with the idea of resurrecting their grandchild through her unborn child, with all this like occult stuff as the catalyst to do it. and just such a well-made film. And you watch it and you kind of think, wow, these two old people are pretty evil. But through the really clever writing and characterization, it's not all that black and white, and you actually start to feel sorry for them a little bit in some circumstances. And the things that they do to try and get their grandchild back kind of opens the door in the netherworld, so all these kind of wayward evil spirits have got a conduit to try and come through into the real world and have them resurrected and not the grandchild. So a load of spooky things happen. But yeah, this is really well done, and I really enjoyed it. Not heard a lot of people talk about it, so I highly recommend this one. This one gets the Horror Hands recommendation of a really good spooky little film. But as I say, it's the characters in this one and just the way things unfold. You think it's going to be one kind of thing, and then it just completely flips and goes in a different direction. But all the way through, it's gripping and entertaining and pretty scary. And as I say, just the lines of good and evil are very much blurred throughout this film, and I thought it worked really well. So yeah, anything for Jackson, I thought was an excellent movie. Next up, I picked up At the Earth's Core, just because I didn't have it in the collection. Used to have it when I was like a kid. I don't know what happened to that, but I was thinking about the old Doug McClure monster movies the other day and thought I really need to get At the Earth's Core. So happy to get this. Really looking forward to checking this one out soon. It's a really fun kind of like Sunday afternoon monster movie. So yeah, this one is a good one. Next up, from Unearthed Films, I picked up August Underground Penance, which is the third one in this series and finishes off this wretched series. I have them all now. I'm not a fan of these movies. I have spoke about them before. They're not nice films. They look garbage. The characters in it are awful, and I don't quite know why anyone would really enjoy these films. I picked them up for collector's purposes just so I have them. But yeah, these are just not films that I personally like or would recommend. Next up, I picked up the Aztec Mummy collection. This was an interesting one. Got 3 films on this one, 2 from the 50s, 1 from the 60s, all sort of mummy themed. I say that, to be honest, these movies are all over the place. They're very kind of shoddily made. They're not good films, but they are kind of fun. But there's all sorts in this, from like gangsters and criminals to laboratories, mind control, masked Mexican wrestlers. In fact, the thing that gets the least screen time is the Aztec Mummy. But they are kind of fun. When the mummy is on, it does look pretty cool in all 3 versions of the movies. So yeah, if you want to see some just kind of cheesy, thrown together Mexican movies from the 50s, I think you'll get some enjoyment out of these. I liked them for what they were, and I watched these with a friend of mine, and we had fun watching all 3. So yeah, nice to get them for the collection, but definitely some very kind of tacky movies from a time that has long since passed, where they just seem to throw things together. But yeah, they were a lot of fun. Next up, from Full Moon, I picked up all 3 of the Baby Oopsie movies. Got 2 and 3 just there. I had a lot of fun with these. These are really good. This is like Full Moon doing what they do best with like these little creatures coming after folk. But this one is this woman. She's kind of like an outcast, a bit reclusive, and she has a YouTube channel actually where she talks about dolls and things like that. And she gets sent this Baby Oopsie doll, which is like possessed and cursed and evil, and basically just runs around in a real foul-mouthed fashion, killing people off. So a bit like a poor man's child play. But these are just kind of really just undemanding, take your brain out, killer doll movies. All 3 are pretty short, but they all kind of follow on, and I enjoyed them for what they were. So if you like your Full Moon movies and little creatures coming after people, I think you'd like Baby Oopsie. They are pretty good. Next up, from Vinegar Syndrome, I picked up The Black Room. So nice to see this one get a release. It's on, I think it's Section 3 Video Nasties here in the UK. And this one is like, there's this room up in Beverly Hills that people hire to like stay there and like make out and whatever. And this husband and wife get involved in using the room. but the couple that own the room are like the guy needs blood to survive, so the people that use the room are kind of then used by them to get blood. So yeah, it's okay. It's a bit of a weird one. Tonally it's a bit strange, but I liked the suggested vampirism aspect of this one, because they're not vampires, they don't go around biting people, but they need the blood to survive, and I thought that element of the film was pretty interesting. The rest of it's a little bit wishy-washy, but yeah, that was pretty cool. So like I say, I've known of this one for quite a while, with it being on the section 3 list, so nice to finally get this one, and a nice release from Vinegar Syndrome. Next up, I picked up this really nice set from Mondo Macabro. I don't really associate with box sets. This is the Bollywood Horrors collection. I don't know any of the films in this one. I'm not particularly well versed in Bollywood cinema, so these are all going to be new for me. So I'm looking forward to diving in and checking out the crazy world, so it looks, of Bollywood horror. But yeah, those are the DVDs there. Really nice set. So you get the movies that you get in this are Atma, the Ghost, Purana Manor, the Haunted Temple. That sounds pretty good. Purani Haveli, the Monster Weeks. Tukana, the Dungeon. Varana, Vengeance of the Vampire. And Band Darwaza, Bride of the Vampire. So they all sound really cool, and I absolutely love this box set from Mondo Macabro. It's a really nice set. So yeah, looking forward to delving into this at some point and checking out these movies. Next up, from Indicator, I picked up The Brainiac, which was an excellent film. This one kind of took me by surprise. This is a Mexican film from the 60s, black and white. And it's about a guy at the beginning from, like, it's in the 1300s, and he's being tried by a bunch of monks, and he's been done for messing around with the dark arts and things like that. So he gets burned at the stake, but he vows to come back in like 300 years time and take his vengeance on these monks' ancestors, which he does. So he comes back in then present day 1960s. And he's like this sort of charming kind of suit wearing guy, but he transforms into this really cool looking, kind of like half insect, half werewolf monster, and starts draining people's blood and taking the brain and things. It's such a fun film. Really, really cool. I wasn't expecting this one to be as enjoyable as it was, but I thoroughly enjoyed The Brainiac. One of the best Mexican films that I've seen, so yeah, definitely one that I can recommend. Next up, I picked up a movie called Breach. I don't know this one, I just came across it recently. Takes place in space with a shape-shifting alien, and it's got Bruce Willis in it, so I thought this one sounded pretty cool. So I'll check this one out soon and see what it's like, but yeah, hopefully this will be a fun one. Next up, I picked up Bride of the Scarecrow. This is a British one, set on this farmhouse where they're under the curse of this scarecrow that kills people. And the people at the beginning of the movie, they end up getting killed off by it in a really stupid way. And then this woman, she finds out she's inherited this farmland area, so she goes over there with a few of her friends, only to get sort of stalked and killed off by this scarecrow. It's not a good film. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it because it's like take place in the British countryside and things like that. And I do like my Scarecrow movies. There's just very few good ones out there. But the Scarecrow in this looked pretty cool. He gets quite a bit of screen time. As I say, not a good film, but I just kind of liked it for the theme and the location of this one. I think most of the people would probably not like this, but yeah, I thought it was okay. Next up, I picked up Caddy Hack. So killer gopher monsters on this golf course, which I couldn't resist. This one, I mean, it is Wild Eye, so I wasn't expecting too much. I like the idea of the killer gopher creatures, and I really like the golf club setting for some reason. That really worked for me. The only thing with this movie is everyone in it acted like unbelievably stupid. Like they couldn't even string sentences together, and it got quite irritating after a while. the killer gophers are literally like soft toy gophers that they throw at the camera. I didn't mind that. I thought that was quite fun. But yeah, it's just the kind of the stilted dialogue, and everyone in this is like, and it just got to me after a while. So yeah, nothing special, but kind of fun for the little gopher monsters. And like I say, for some reason I enjoyed the golf club setting on this one. But yeah, typical kind of okay, silly, Wild Eye movie. Next up, this is a French film that I've had recommended called Calvaire, which I've not seen yet. I think this one takes place at Christmas, so I've kind of just missed the boat of watching this at a good time. From what I understand, it's a guy that kind of arrives up in this weird town and gets kind of kidnapped, and I think it gets pretty nasty. This one's got a bit of a reputation. It's quite a strong movie to get through, so I will check this one out soon. But yeah, I've been told to kind of brace myself for this. But it gets some good reviews, so I'm hoping that Calvaire will deliver and will be a good film. If you've seen this one, let me know what I can expect. Next up, from Full Moon, I picked up Crips. This was a pretty fun one. This one takes place in the hood, and these kind of wannabe rap stars, they come across this club, like this kind of strip club, but it's like a front for vampires, and yeah, it's all kind of that kind of thing. Not as kind of gory and nudity filled as you would expect. It's nothing like From Dusk Till Dawn or anything like that. It's much more kind of low brow, low budget, Full Moon kind of entertainment. But I did like it for what it was. Just don't expect too much of this one. It's got a few kind of good vampire moments and things like that, but very kind of low budget. So yeah, take it for what it is. I thought it was alright. Next up, I picked up this beautiful box set from Severin. This is the Peter Cushing Cushing Curiosities box set, very similar to the Euro Crypt of Christopher Lee box sets that came out a while ago. But this is one of the 6 Peter Cushing films, quite obscure ones, in this box set. You've got Tender Dracula, which I believe is the only time he ever played a vampire, Sherlock Holmes, Suspect, Bloodsuckers, The Man Who Finally Died, and Code of Silence. Bloodsuckers I have seen a long time ago. I think it was pretty terrible, to be honest, but I'm going to reappraise it again on Blu-ray. That's the back. And I'm actually interested. There's a couple of kind of non-horror ones in this one that he did, like kind of spy and espionage one. And one of them is about like an ex-Nazi hiding out. It sounds pretty interesting, so I'm going to check them out at some point. But yeah, this is a absolutely wonderful set from Severin. Peter Cushing being one of my favourite actors, so I really wanted to get this. So yeah, really nice addition. Next up, from Severin, I picked up their beautiful release of De La Morte Delamore, aka Cemetery Man. This is one, I haven't seen this for a while, so I'm going to check it out again and rewatch it. I don't remember liking it all that much, but I know it has a massive cult following, so yeah, I'll see what I think upon another rewatch. But I have to say, this release from Severin is absolutely beautiful. It may be the nicest edition in terms of the aesthetics. In fact, I did go to open this, and I actually couldn't bring myself to do it. I may keep it sealed and just keep it pristine because it is such a nice edition. There are unboxings of this on YouTube where people do a really good job showing it off. But yeah, really nice. This is a 4K release of De La Morte Delamore. I have it as Cemetery Man on DVD, so I might even just watch that version and keep this sealed because it is really, really nice from Severin. So yeah, very nice release right there of that movie. Next up, from Kino, I picked up Dinosaurus. This is a dinosaur movie from the 60s. Had a blast watching this. This one was really good. Takes place on like this tropical island, and they're doing something in the water, blowing something up, and they unearth 2 kind of frozen sleeping dinosaurs, which of course come to life. And one is a T-Rex and one is a Brachiosaurus. I don't know my dinosaurs too well. One with a long neck. And the Brachiosaurus one is pretty tame. He starts to hang out with the humans, including this boy on the island. But the T-Rex is pretty nasty and gives them quite a bunch of problems. So yeah, you've got these two dinosaurs running around, the T-Rex causing a lot of trouble on the island, and you get the fight between the T-Rex and the Brontosaurus, one of them. And yeah, it's really cool. So lots of really good kind of like stop motion dinosaur shots in this one. And to say it's kind of very early 1960s, it seems quite low budget. Some of the shots of the T-Rex are really impressive. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed Dinosaurus. This was a very kind of charming movie. So yeah, this was a good one. Next up from Troma, I picked up Dolly Deadly. Gotta say, didn't enjoy this one at all. Nothing here that I would recommend. Really boring and just not a fun film to watch. Hate to admit it, but I didn't make it all the way through this one. I think I got towards an hour and thought, oh, I've got other things to watch. So yeah, stop this one early, which is not like me. But yeah, really bad film. Next up from Full Moon, I picked up Dreamaniac, which is a pretty cool 80s slasher film. This guy, I think he like summons this woman who's like a succubus demon woman, and they go to a party and she's there like killing people off. So yeah, just pretty kind of standard 80s slasher, but I did enjoy it. It's got some pretty good kills in it, actually. I wasn't expecting some of the gory kills in this one, so they were good. And it's got a really good kind of like rock and roll soundtrack throughout this one. So yeah, it was an enjoyable one. Really bad picture quality, I have to say. It's almost just like ripped from a VHS tape. Personally, I don't mind that because it kind of takes me back to the 90s when I used to watch things on video. But if you're someone that goes for like picture quality and sound quality, you won't get a lot from this DVD. But if you just want like a lowbrow, take your brain out 80s slasher film, Dreamaniac is not too bad. Next up from Scream Factory, I picked up The Editor, which I've not watched yet but sounds interesting. This is like a modern American horror movie, but pays homage to giallo films from what I understand. So I'm interested to see what they do with this one. If you've seen this one, let me know what you thought. But yeah, I'll be watching this one soon and seeing what it's like. Next up from Full Moon, I picked up End of the World. Not had a chance to watch this one yet, but I'm really looking forward to doing so. Kind of like a really low budget sci-fi film with Christopher Lee. Doesn't get very good reviews at all, but I did mention it earlier in the month on my channel, and I had a few comments from people saying that they'd seen it and that they liked it, and it was quite a charming little film. So yeah, I will be watching this one soon and seeing what it's like. Next up from Vinegar Syndrome, I picked up their 4K release of Existence, David Cronenberg film from the 90s. I didn't really like it. It's not a bad film at all, it's just not my kind of movie. This is quite a mind-bending, reality-altering film where they connect up to this video game like physically, and then I'll plunge into this video game world and have to go about things, and then it's kind of like what's real and what's not. There's a couple of actually quite good like creature moments in this, which I appreciated, but yeah, just not my kind of film. As I say, it's not a bad film at all. A great cast and there's some good effects in it, but yeah, just not one that I particularly liked. Although I will say I do feel this movie, it's kind of like more relevant than ever now because of all of sort of the video game culture out there now and things like VR and things like that. It's strangely, it's more relevant than what it was in the 90s. So yeah, very kind of clever in that respect. But yeah, if you like kind of more your sci-fi kind of stuff, I think you'd like Existence. But yeah, just not my kind of film. Next up from Vinegar Syndrome, I picked up Fatal Games, the long-awaited 80s slasher film centered around like these athletes at high school training for these like games, and there's a killer going around killing them off. I wasn't too fussed on this one, to be honest. It's got a few good like javelin related kills, but it's a bit slow. So yeah, I was looking forward to watching it because I know how sought after this one's been, and it is nice to see it get a really nice Blu-ray release. But yeah, not one that I was all that thrilled with. So glad that I've finally seen it. But yeah, not one that I will return to all that much. Next up, I picked up Fear Chamber. Just got this one cheap. It's a Boris Karloff film from the 60s. It looks kind of cheesy, so yeah, I'll check this one out at some point and see what it's like. Next up, I picked up Five Nights at Freddy's. Now this one, I've not heard very good things about it, and I really wanted to like it. I went in thinking, I'm hoping this will be a lot of fun. Gotta say, yeah, it was disappointing. Yeah, really disappointing, this one. This guy, he gets like a night shift working at this disused Freddy's kind of warehouse place, I think it's like a restaurant or something. And all the old animatronic kind of children entertainment robots come to life. Sounds amazing. They really could have done some good stuff with this, but it's got lots of like family drama. He's like looking after his daughter, and it really goes heavy on that, which I didn't care for at all. And yeah, I just didn't like what they did, even when they did things inside this place with the cool animatronics, because they were really good. They did look awesome, but yeah, it was a bit too wishy-washy. I really thought they should have gone with these creatures, these animatronics inside this place, kind of killing people off and making it more full on. But yeah, bit of a washout. I was disappointed with Five Nights at Freddy's, unfortunately. From Full Moon, I picked up Fraulein Devil. Not had a chance to watch this one yet. I think this is another like women in prison movie, so I probably won't get too much from it. But I've always liked the artwork on this. This kind of colourful, over-the-top artwork I've always found quite enticing. So I will check this out at some point and see what this one is like. And that's it, guys. I'm going to leave it there for now, and I will come back with part 2 where I will go through this lot. So I'll put this video out, let this one do the rounds, and come back to you in a couple of days and go through the second part of January's haul. So thank you very much for watching, and stay tuned for more videos.